people love when you sit down and they see you working with different financing companies, bringing up different ideas, coming up with creative ways to be able to pay for it. That type of thing isn't really happening too often.
Welcome to Case Closed, From Consult to Crown, a podcast for dentists who want to place more implants. My name is Ryan Pritchard, and I'm joined here by my co-host, AJ Davino, and today we're talking about financing. AJ, if someone were to ask me, what is the single most effective way to move the needle in a dental office? For me, I find it difficult to come up with something more effective than financing.
It's true. Imagine going to a car dealership and you find the car that you really want, and they tell you, okay, great. Do you have $40,000 to give me?
Right.
And I say to them, well, no, I don't have $40,000 to give you. Can you help me, pay for something that's $40,000? And they say, well, I have a brochure.
Yeah.
Here you go.
Take it home.
Take it home. Let me know if you get approved.
Call us.
Give us a call.
Yeah. Then we'll sell you the car.
Because that's what's happening at a lot of dental offices, right?
Yeah.
We're asking for lots of money from people, and then we're just sort of looking at them like, I don't know. I guess if you don't know how to pay for it, I don't know how you're going to pay for it either.
Yeah, right. And they have financing, like you said. We'll talk about that as we get into this podcast. The aggravation that comes with we have financing, but having it and using it are vastly very different, and you can see it in the bank account. But before we get too deep into this episode, and I want to let you take it away,
sure.
Because this is your department, if you will. But I want to tell the story of how we really came to be working together. I don't know if even you know all the details on this, but
probably not.
So we worked together. We worked at the same company at two different times,
yeah.
right? And we knew someone who worked there. We started playing soccer together, and I remember trying to hire you on the soccer field.
It's true.
A couple times. And then one day, my only client at the time, who also happened to be my dentist, he said to me, I'm going to hire your friend. And I said, my friend, who? And he said, AJ. And still, I said, AJ, who? Right? and he said, don't you play soccer with someone named AJ? And I said, oh, yeah, AJ Soccer. Yeah, that's how you are in my phone.
Same as my phone.
Yeah, still today. And he said to me, do you think he would be a good hire? And I said, yeah, I've tried to hire him several times on the soccer field. You should definitely hire him. And he said, okay, do you have any criticisms of AJ? And I said, yes. I said, here's what's going to happen. You're going to hire him, and he's going to do great. He's going to kill it here. And then one day he's going to come in and he's going to say, doctor, I'm moving to Texas. And you're going to say, oh, okay, when? And he's going to say tomorrow, because AJ is a nomad, and he's amazing, but I think he's meant for bigger things. Well, he said, okay, great, I'm going to hire him, right? And then you started, and 30 days into you working there, you took an office that consistently did about $10,000 in implants a month, okay? And he was not spending nothing on marketing. He actually was spending kind of a lot on marketing and consistently doing $10,000. And then you were there for 30 days, and the implant revenue went to, it was like $135,000.
Yeah.
And I remember Missy coming to me and saying, AJ just closed $135,000 for the treatment. And I said, no way. I actually told her this. I said, no way. You got your numbers wrong. Go back and redo the numbers. And then she left, and then she came back, and she said, no, this is right. AJ closed $135,000. And I said, holy shit. But I also said, let's see what he does in another 30 days. My guess is what he did is he went in and he found all these failed treatment plans, failed as in not closed, and he cleaned them up, right? And she said, yeah, that's got to be it. 30 days later, it was like $220,000.
Yeah.
So from that point on, I'm like, holy shit, this guy is an all-star again. I didn't know you that well. Mm-hmm. And then The doctor calls me, fast forward a year,
About a year,
later, maybe a year and a half. He calls me and he says, well, Ryan, AJ's moving to Texas. And I laughed and I said, I told you that was going to happen. Now, obviously, I did know that because you had come to me prior and said that you wanted to launch your own company, which you did, and we work together now. But when I asked you, how did you do it? You know, what did you do here?
Yeah.
You said to me, the most important thing I did here is bring in financing.
It's true. When you're looking for, again, I'm not trying to draw parallels between selling cars and selling dentistry, right? They're two vastly different things. But I mean, the largest case I've ever sold is almost $60,000. I mean, that is a car.
That's a nice
really
car.
nice car, right?
Yeah.
Or two okay cars, right? And it's just it's unreasonable, right, to ask that from someone and then not have an ability or a way to just help them be able to afford it. It's always fascinating to me. So
Yeah, it's almost a prank.
yeah, it's like, well, I know you really like this shiny object.
Yeah.
You can get it one day if you figure out how to pay for the shiny object, right?
Right.
Just blew my mind. So I got into the office. I added more finance companies. And, you know, I think we're, as this episode, I think, goes on, we're gonna drill down a little bit deeper into some of the specifics. But, you know, not stopping at one, not just having one. When I visit new offices that don't really work with us too often, and I'm asking them, hey, do you have finance? You brought this up a few minutes ago. Do you have financing? Oh, we do. Oh, okay. Well, what do you have?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, well, we have one. Oh, okay. Well, let me see how often you send in an application. Let's log in. Does anyone know the logins? You know, or I love because some of the websites, you know, they're not you can't just find them on the internet. And I see someone typing, you know, www.thefinancecompany.com, and it's like, that's not the website.
This isn't where you do that.
Right. This is not how you log in.
Yeah.
So you just see that, you know, oftentimes there isn't a champion for it, right? It's, we have these lovely brochures they print for us. Aren't they lovely? Yes, patient, here you go.
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah. Here's our financing.
Yeah. You know,
they have payments and things.
Yeah. Oh, well, what's the interest rate? You know, I don't know. You know, I've never actually read that brochure I'm handing you. I'm just, I just know it pertains to what you're asking about.
Right. This is a financing company. That's what I do know. Quick word from today's sponsor, Care Credit. We use Care Credit in all of our own offices, and we recommend it to our clients because it removes one of the biggest barriers to treatment: cost. Care Credit gives patients flexible monthly payment options, while your practice gets paid quickly, often in just a couple of business days. When you're presenting implants or larger cases, having financing built into the conversation makes a huge difference in case acceptance. Take it from me, I see the numbers. If you're not offering it, you're leaving opportunity on the table. Okay, so let's start basics. Okay?
Yeah.
What is financing?
Yeah.
What is it? Right? There's so many different versions of that. You know, I think to me the essence of financing is the ability to make something expensive affordable by breaking it into multiple payments. Right. And in a dental office, we can do that in several ways. What are some of those ways?
So the different types that we have. So obviously we do have these nice third-party companies. You know, a company like Care Credit, that's the most. I usually say that's the only company that a patient's ever going to walk in and have any experience with, right?
Know what it is.
And know what it is, right?
Household name.
Right. For good reason, right? You can go to, you know, the veterinarian and see them. You can go to
They're everywhere.
The eye doctor, what have you. They're everywhere, right? And they have that name brand on lockdown.
Yeah.
Everyone kind of knows what Care Credit is, right? So you have the third-party companies. You know, that's, I guess, our first line of offense, I guess, being able to say to someone, okay, look, I have a way that we can apply you and try to break this up into payments that are going to work for you, right? Maybe it'll have interest, maybe it won't, you know, whatever. That's, you know, our core way of breaking up payments for patients, right? A lot of offices get into the trap of saying, well, you know what? I don't need all the money right now. You can just kind of pay me as you go, right? I don't like that.
This is the dreaded in-house financing.
Yeah, the in-house financing,
yeah.
right? A lot of offices default to that, and it's like, oh, okay, well, I really only need I only need a little money at this appointment, and then at the next appointment I need a little bit more, and then and then I'm getting a call from the doctor 8 months later saying, why is my accounts receivable out of control? And it's like, well, because you have 12 patients that are in this nebulous region where they're not actually paying every time they come here anymore, right? They're just sort of paying when they can, what they can.
Well, there's a major problem with it too, right? Because if I have a roofing company and I want to give someone in-house financing, I can say, let's say the job's $20,000. I can say, okay, I want $5,000 now, okay? And then the guys will start, and then once they're halfway through, you'll give me another $5,000, right? And then if you don't, I'm going to just stop doing your roof. You can't do that in dentistry, right? There's laws that prevent that.
Right.
Or with cars, say you can repo a car. I always tell my doctors, you can't repo teeth.
Yet, right?
Yet.
They're working on it.
Yeah.
Give me those dentures. Give me those chompers, right?
Someone steals them while you're sleeping. Yeah.
It's happened. Maybe, I don't know. It probably has. Maybe in a nursing home. Anyway, some other, these are, when someone says, what is financing? What are some ways that we can help patients break this up? That's the first and foremost that I want an office to throw their resources at. I want them to use what these companies are intended for. I mean, they exist for a reason, right? Mm-hmm. They exist for a reason to help people afford things. Now, is everyone going to be able to get approved or get approved for the amount that they need? No, it's not, right? Mm-hmm. It's my belief that if someone has a dental problem and they come to us and we have the solution, they're going to say yes 100 out of 100 times to the treatment. Getting them to be able to pay for it is actually where that's the job, right? That's what we're actually trying to do.
Right.
We're trying to help someone be able to actually afford this.
Affordability.
Right.
Yeah. Not selling.
No, it's not selling.
It's done.
We have, the sell is, I can help you. Patients want two things. Can you help me? What does it cost?
Yeah, I mean, if you take someone through the entire process and at the end of it, they say, I don't want that.
Call me.
Yeah, something's wrong.
Something's seriously wrong.
We can fix that very quickly.
Very quickly.
Yeah, very quickly.
Oh, my goodness. But, I guess another layer down from, okay, the patient can't get themselves financed. Okay. And I know that this may hit some people's ears strangely, but understand whenever, what I'm going to talk about in the next few minutes, whenever I say to you, when I'm actually talking to a patient, what I'm saying to the patient is, look, you want this, right? Yes, I do. We can't get you through our financing means. Okay, I understand that. Here's what other people do. Mm-hmm. It's not me saying to someone, well, you didn't get approved. I need you to go get a cosigner, right?
Call your mom.
Right, call your mom. I don't want to come off so callous. That's not how I view it. What I view it is, or how I view it is this lens of, look, I know tons of people who have been in the same position as you. This is what they have done.
Right.
I'm going to make these suggestions to you. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying to you, go and do this right now, because you might not be able to do whatever I'm about to suggest to you. So I just want to make that distinction. I'm not trying to force people to do something they don't want to do.
Yeah, well, let's put another perspective on that too. There's a world where, look, all the time, if someone needs financial assistance and they can't get it, they're not surprised, right? We all have an understanding of where we stand financially. Mm-hmm. If you go into a bank and you try to borrow a certain amount of money and they tell you no and you're surprised, you gotta pay. you gotta pay attention. That most people, that's not the case.
Yeah.
But there's plenty of people that might have had themselves in that situation, and whatever got them there is now over.
Right.
The banks take a while to catch up and to identify that has happened.
Yeah.
But family and friends maybe know and trust these people who need help more than a bank does today, right? Because they're cleaning up their credit or what have you, and so a family member might know, I know you're good for it,
right?
I'll lend you the 12, or I'll come co-sign on the 12, and so to deny someone of that opportunity just because they haven't thought of it,
right?
I don't think it's fair,
right?
So like you said, we don't push them into it, but Some people don't even think about it.
The lens of this is what other people do in this situation. I know you want it. Let's see how some other people that have been in the same spot, let's see how they did it, right? So yeah, the first one is a cosigner. Is there someone in your life who would be willing to potentially take out a loan? We put you on as the patient. Do you have anyone like that in your life? You do? You don't? Okay. You do? Okay, great. Let's get them in. Let's bring them in here. Don't do it over the phone. Bring them into the office. Yeah. The person has to see and understand, like, what am I doing? How much money do you need? This sounds crazy to me.
Yeah.
Right. If you try to do this over the phone, right, or you, God forbid, have the patient try to re-explain what they just went through on the clinical consult, right? Yeah. It's going to be a disaster. So I'm a big fan of bring them in. Yeah. Let's come back again for another consult. There's no charge. Let's just have you come in. Let's sit down and let's talk and let's show them what is behind this, whatever it is, 10 grand, 15 grand, 30 grand, whatever it is. That's a great way to be able to move the needle on someone who can't do it themselves, right? Something we didn't mention, I'm a big fan of when we schedule someone for a consultation to come in, I usually want them to bring someone with them. You know, I use the word advocate, right? Is there someone that you bounce big ideas off of, Mr. and Mrs. Patient?
Yeah.
Someone that you go to when you have to make a decision.
Spouse, a sibling.
Yeah, someone, right? Because
Yeah.
we don't want to assume anything, right? So can you bring them with you? At no point during the consult will you two be apart from one another. When you have that person who could potentially be a cosigner, or maybe they're the person that the patient's using as the excuse to have to go home and talk to blank, right? If they're with you in the room, you don't have that excuse, and now you also have potentially the person who's going to maybe do the co-signing, with the patient. So big fan of inviting advocates. That word gets thrown around a lot in our industry lately.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but whatever. It's a nice word. It's very flowery. So that's one of the, in this hierarchy of where we start, hopefully they can self-finance on their own using our companies that we have. Then, okay, you can't. Okay, let's jump to a potential co-signer. Then we start jumping into the more, I'll say, creative spaces to potentially be able to find a loan. And it's very important that I say this. I don't want coordinators or doctors or anyone listening to this to think that I jump to these next things immediately. Everything else I'm about to list is probably not something that can be done while they're sitting in front of you. These are things that are going to take time, right? So you don't default to these. You don't bring these up first. You go through, hey, let's try to get you financed through our companies. Then you jump to, okay, maybe we have a cosigner. And then you get into these more fringe ideas that are going to take time. Don't just jump to them. One of them, I know this sounds absolutely crazy for someone that's maybe listening to this, but I've had people borrow from their 401k, not take money out of their 401k, but borrow from it.
Yeah.
And this is the line I usually say when I'm suggesting it to someone. It's like, okay, so what I've had people do in the past is they've borrowed from their 401k. And did you know a lot of different 401k holding companies, if you borrow the money from you, the interest that you actually pay back goes to your account. It's not kept by the company. And then that usually, if someone has a 401k to borrow from, usually elicits some kind of, whoa, is that true? And then I immediately say, well, I have no idea. I have Vanguard. That's how it works for me. If this is something you want to look into, you have to call them. But usually, right?
Yeah, right. So to be clear, you're not saying pull $10,000 out of your 401k. You're saying there are either third-party companies or maybe even whoever's providing the 401k. Mm-hmm. You can borrow against it.
Correct.
Basically, what this means is you're collateralizing a loan.
Yeah.
Right, with your 401k. So if you default, they'll pull it out.
Absolutely.
And someone may have a strong 401k and not the best credit.
Right.
And so I think that's a great option for people. I don't see why anyone hears that and thinks, oh, well,
right,
we're asking someone to pull money out of their 401k. No, we're not. We're asking someone to utilize the assets that they have. Right. To borrow money that they need to change their life.
And sometimes it's not even that they have bad credit, right? They're maybe just overextended. They have a few lines.
Yeah.
They don't have a whole lot of, it's a debt to income ratio thing.
For sure.
So their credit's okay. It's just like, I can't give you
no room in here.
Right. I can't give you this $20,000.
Probably because they just bought a Ford F-150.
Of course,
right?
they need that Raptor, right?
Yeah.
I feel like we're doing a lot of shameless plugs to different products here. It was not intended.
Yeah, we're sending you a bill.
Ford, please send me a Raptor. So another layer down, and I know that this is going to sound absolutely crazy, but I mean, I've had plenty of people do this. They've actually taken out a home equity line of credit to be able to afford it.
Again, same thing. There's no difference between that and borrowing against your 401k, right? It's an asset you have.
Yep.
And if you can utilize it how you want it.
Yeah.
Right? I think of that awful commercial from years ago. It's my money and I want it now.
Oh, yeah. J.G. Wentworth. Another shameless plug.
Oh, God. We're going to get a lot of letters after this episode.
Cease and desist immediately.
So for a second, let's talk about one that I think for me, there is a type of financing that I don't like.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
I think in-house is one.
Definitely.
I tell my clients, do not do in-house financing. Years ago, I suggested, without knowing, don't do this because it's not legal. You the like layaway.
Yeah, dental layaway.
Yeah, so it's if you're going to do in-house financing, allow someone to make payments now for future work, $150, whatever it is, for 2 years, and then then they can do it. That's actually not legal. You can't do that in a dental office, so don't do that.
Don't do that.
But contingent funding, let's talk about that. I won't name the companies because I actually know some people from these companies and they're good people, but there's financing out there that's contingent on the person paying, right? So the bank says, yes, approved. We will collect the money. They have some sort of soft collections program. And what they'll do is they basically chase the patient for money. And when they get paid, you get paid, and then you pay a small fee for that. And it is really small, actually. It's not big, but to me, it's like a slightly better version of in-house financing. What are your thoughts on that?
I think you nailed it when you said it's a slightly better version. I almost wonder, like, if you're going to do that, why have someone else manage it when you could potentially manage it yourself?
Yeah, right.
If you're okay with this, and then a response would be, well, they hunt the person down, so I don't have to. And it's like, okay, I mean, I guess that's what you're paying for if you use these companies. But why couldn't you just do it yourself if that's really an avenue that you wanted to go?
Right. Well, in our offices, we do not hold AR. We don't.
Right.
We don't do work for people that we aren't paid. We aren't a bank.
Right.
We're a dental office, right? And so we get paid up front for all the work that we do. So we don't find ourselves in that situation. But if we did, right, where we have a large amount of AR out there on a patient, these are patients. These are people that needed medical help, and then for whatever reason, they're unable to pay for it. So it's our rule in the companies that we own that we don't go after patients in any sort of hard collections. We don't send them to collections.
Right.
We might dismiss them as a patient, but we might do some soft collections, but we don't do it.
Right.
Right. So even then, I don't know that I want a patient being hounded by a company, because they won't, if they go to leave a bad review, they're not leaving a bad review for the company that's hounding them.
Right.
They don't say, hey, this is company so-and-so and you owe doctor whatever, all this. They say, you owe the doctor this, and if you don't pay, we're going to call tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow. I don't love that.
Yeah. There's also some interesting newer companies or newer avenues that you could potentially explore. One of them, people tend to say, I have a better relationship with my credit union and I'm going to go and ask them for it. Okay, it's possible. Maybe at a credit union you're not a number there. And I've had there's some other companies right now that, believe it or not, I don't even know if you know this, someone can apply and then actually use assets in their life to actually help back the loan.
Yeah, okay.
It's awesome. I've never seen that before. It's pretty new to dentistry. So someone can, just to be clear here, someone can apply and the company will contingently approve them, and then they start looking into their life to see what assets they have, and one of them could be a car. And they literally use their car as
also
the
take a second lien on the car, or a first lien if they own it outright. Yeah, that's
Newer,
right,
unique.
right? So we're collateralizing, and that gets out of control, right? And if it starts to get out of, like, you don't want to collateralize your Nikes, right? That's ridiculous. That's
Wow.
ridiculous.
Some of them are valuable.
That's true. That's true. Give me your shoes and I'll do your teeth. So yeah, okay. So there's a lot of different types of financing. I want to talk next about why financing is so important, and I think a good way to do that is I want to tell the story of when we were in a town outside of Potsdam, New York. It is the most no-name town on the planet, and I can say that. I'm from a no-name town. And I remember we showed up there, right? It was the second time we had gone because the first time we were late and the doctor was very unhappy with us, so we had to come back. So the second time we had showed up, and there was somebody coming in for dental work, and before they came, you said, okay, do you have a consult room? No, we don't. Okay, do you have financing? And it's like, well, yeah, we do. It's like care credit or something like that, just one. And you said you kind of assessed the situation, and then you said, okay, what I like to do today is just watch. Right? I'm going to be a fly on the wall. I'm just going to watch, which is what you normally do, right, on your your assessment visits. So I'm there too, and Missy's there, and you're doing your assessment, and we're interviewing everybody in the office, and so we made it through. The office was small, so her and our job was done pretty early, and I remember we ended up walking to an Amish stand and getting strawberries.
Yes.
The best strawberries I ever had. And we brought them back, and we're sitting in the break room, and we're just chowing on these strawberries while you're working.
Yeah.
And I remember you came busting into the break room, and you said, I just can't, I need you guys got to get out of here. And we're like, oh, what do you mean, get out of here? You're like, you got to get out of here. I'm going to bring this patient back to this break room. And the break room was not super nice.
It was like a kitchenette, maybe.
Yeah, it was like a storage. It was very basement-y.
Yeah.
Right? And so we were like, oh, here now? And you're like, here, now, go. And so we're like, okay, and took my strawberries, and I left. And then when I came back, you're like, close that case. I'm like, what the hell happened? You said you were watching chairside, and you did everything in your power to not
Get
jump
involved.
in. Yeah, but the person was like, yep, I want it. If you have financing, I want to do it. I think he had said he was like an ex-engineer, well-educated. He had the money. He just said, I wanted to do financing. And the coordinator there, for whatever reason, said, here's a brosure, right? Go home.
Yeah,
and
don't worry. Don't do
this
this
like
here.
an hour and a half away.
Yeah,
and you just were like, no. I need to jump in. It's like National Geographic saving dying turtles.
I love the turtle.
You jumped in there, and you said, I just got to, you took it over. You brought the patient into this, decrepit break room, and you sold the guy in like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
It was amazing. 20 minutes, used financing, and it was a big case.
Activated the loan.
Tens of thousands of dollars activated, and then we came back with strawberry-filled faces and said, what happened? You said, well, we just closed a massive case. That for me is there's no better story for the difference between $30,000 or something like that.
Right.
That case was, and nothing.
Right.
That's financing.
It's incredible. Different companies, different people have different percentages, but someone comes in for a consult, that initial consultation. If they leave and you haven't set up how they're going to pay for it, you haven't activated, you haven't done that part of it, right? It's just like, yes, I want this treatment. I'm going to go home, think about it, whatever it is. They leave without any kind of commitment. About 15% chance you have of maybe bringing them back.
Yeah. Oh,
you
yeah.
know?
I think it's 12. I think we
Is it
tracked
12?
that.
Yeah, it's even lower.
Yeah.
So you have a patient that really wants the treatment. They really want what they came here to hopefully find a treatment that helps, that makes them happy, right? They found that. We came up with a price for them. We have everything in place, and then to just say, okay, I can't actually finance you here, or we don't do that here, or why don't you go home and do that?
Yeah.
It's just crazy to me.
Especially with that specific example.
Yeah.
The guy was like, I want to do this.
Now.
I'm all the way in. I want to
Please let
do it
me
now.
do this. Right.
Right. And he lived forever away.
Yeah. Well, everyone does it that
Yeah,
often.
that's true. That's
But
probably
the point
nothing
remains.
for him.
Yeah, the point remains. The point remains.
Yeah.
Just do it now. Again, I'm gonna come back to the car world. Imagine if a car dealership said to you when you found your car, you found everything. I got to have this. Okay, great. Do you have the $40,000 to pay for the car? No, I don't.
Who does?
I don't carry. I don't have my $40,000 sack
Cash.
with a dollar sign on it here. No, I don't. Okay, well,
When you do.
when you do, here's a couple brochures. Give me a call, and then we'll start cleaning the car for you. We'll start getting it ready for you to deliver. Just crazy.
That's insanity. And it reminds me actually of, we've done a lot of talking about patients who need the affordability, right? This is someone who they don't have cash sitting around.
Right.
The idea of $15,000 in cash is, some people have never even seen that, right? And that's the type of person who needs help to make it more affordable. But on the other end of that spectrum, let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Someone who understands financing, I think, I understand money, I think.
Yeah. I hope.
I hope. I have several businesses, and we have to move a lot of money around, a lot. And it's not a difficult concept. If you can finance something for me that's $25,000, maybe I have $25,000, I can just give it to you.
Right.
It's like suitcase full of cash. Here you go, 25 grand. Or I cannot give that to you, and you can give me a loan for 6%, right? Or interest-free. Some offices do that. I know you have feelings about interest-free. We can talk about that, but some offices do it. If I can get a deal like that, and I know I can take that $25,000 and I don't know, boost a marketing campaign for one of the offices,
Right.
or put it toward a down payment on a CBCT. I know that money, I can make more with that
Right.
than I can save in avoiding interest.
Right.
As long as that interest doesn't get crazy, and they do, and they can. But it's not just people that need it to be able to afford it. There's also people on the other end of that spectrum who understand money, and they don't want to let go of $25,000, right? They want that.
They want it to work for them.
They want it to work for them. Yeah.
I like this setup. I'm not going to give it to you. I mean, that actually happens a lot.
Yeah.
I don't know why it's not maybe more popular in our world. I'm sure that someone listening here knows when we visit offices, how often I hear like, oh, this patient is a local, knows a lot locally. He's a big wheel in town, right? And it's like, I know that they have money. And it's like, okay, well, there's someone you can have a pretty high level conversation with if their treatment plan is pretty big, right? You get a very high level conversation.
Yeah.
And something I think I'm realizing now, maybe we didn't mention, or I didn't, I guess. When you have that type of conversation, whether it's someone who does have that kind of money and just doesn't want to necessarily give us $25,000, or someone doesn't have $25,000 cash and they need a way to be able to pay for it, patients and people appreciate when you do work with them like that, when you go to bat for them, when you are like, okay, a lot of offices are probably just going to tell you, okay, it is what it is. Call me when everything is settled on your end. People love when you sit down and they see you working with different financing companies, bringing up different ideas, coming up with creative ways to be able to pay for it. That type of thing isn't really happening too often.
Yeah.
People recognize it. I think about, there's an office, for some reason we have tons of offices in Wisconsin. I think of the office up in Wisconsin where I was helping to just change that office's approach to talking to people about treatment. And we're in the consult room. We had just gotten them approved for a big dollar amount for a company that isn't in dentistry anymore, a finance company from yesteryear. And I remember everything was set up. I turned the loan on. I was there, the person who is now the implant treatment coordinator there even to today. And then the patient was there with his significant other. And the patient, after everything was done, we're all excited. The patient says, it was a big, beautiful table like this, and says, guys, I didn't think this was going to be like this. I just had a completely different vision of what an implant consultation at a dental office was going to be, and it wasn't this.
Yeah. Well, it's built by their past experiences.
Yeah. We're in a quiet room, the awards on the wall, big screen, going over the treatment, working with them to make sure that this fits into their budget for an hour and a half. He was completely blown away. And I was very happy because at the time I had just started working with that coordinator. She got to see in real time, like, this is real. Like, yeah, this is how you can, like, yeah, you can have people apply to financing. Yeah, you can try to help them, but like, you're also literally helping them as like from a human to human level. You're just literally showing, I'm going to try to do whatever I can to help you. I know you want this. Maybe I'm getting a little into the weeds here. But.
No, I don't think you are. That's what it's all about. And let's talk about, so even within the third-party companies, we've talked about them a little bit. You've got your lines of credit. Right? You've got, Care Credit. They typically are a credit card.
Revolving line,
revolving line. You've got some of the financing companies are term loans. Some of them are basically in-house financing, contingent funding. Some of them Waterfall.
Yeah.
So that's a big buzzword in the financing world as of late. Waterfalling.
Yeah.
Tell me what that is.
So basically, one application for you take the patient, they apply one time, and then it nails. I should be a little more proper here. It then takes that application and it hits 50, 60, 70 different banks. So now one application isn't just one. It's now one application is now 60 applications. It's increasing the likelihood of that patient, one of those banks saying, yeah, I will work with this person.
Yeah.
It's becoming more popular, I think, because as things are ever evolving in the world in general, outside of dentistry right now.
Yeah.
And I think more and more companies, you're going to see that model of one application hits many banks, many different banks.
Well, I like to think that you have something to do with why those companies are being created. You said it earlier. I remember a few years ago, I'm sure you remember this too, you would talk to a financing company, big ones, right? And they would say, well, we want to be your only, right? And years ago, we would be like, yeah, sure, Jane. You're going to be our only financing. That's insane. You're not going to be our only finance company. I remember telling some bigwigs at some of the monster companies. I remember telling them, I'm never, ever going to say that in my dental offices. That's crazy. And you talked about it before. You said, do all of the financing companies. And, we do that at Crown. It is a rule that you need to do all of them, even if you get an approval. Right. So let's say we've got 10. You go through 1 and 2, and then 3, you get an approval. We tell our ITCs or implant treatment coordinators, you have to keep going.
Yeah.
Why?
I mean, people like options, right? If you are just constantly trying to force everyone into the same like little box, you'll lose some people. I like this idea of, hey, this company offered you this. I've got this other company here. Let's see what they offer you. And I've got this other company here. Let's see what they offer you. Some pushback I get sometimes is, well, I don't understand. We already have an approval. Why wouldn't we just stop with that? And it's like, well, patients don't know what they don't know. If they aren't aware that some of these other companies, and remember, none of these companies hurt your credit to check with them, and none of them have an application longer than if you're good at typing, that's going to take 90 seconds. There's no hard inquiries, right?
Yeah.
What is the harm in getting them approved, right, for 5 companies and having them choose what makes the most sense for them?
Right. And what you're saying is sometimes for someone it's interest rate.
There you go.
So maybe I've got a 17% interest rate, but over here I have a 7. And listeners might think that's no way. There's no way that's going to happen. But it does happen, right? It happens
Constantly.
all the time. And it's because, I think, you tell me if I'm wrong here, maybe I have a certain financial profile that will yield, on average, a 17% interest rate.
Right.
But one of those companies I have done business with several times in the past.
Yeah.
Just pick one, Wells Fargo. I have done business with Wells Fargo. Maybe they do my mortgage. I run my name through their system, and to them, it's like, oh, we know this person.
Yeah.
We know this person pays. We have a history with them.
Right.
And so you'll see 17, 15, 17, 7.
Right.
Right? This does happen.
All the time.
It's a major, major reason. If you care about your patient, you will run every single option that you have to make sure that they have the best deal for them. Right?
Or everything you just said, I'll tell you a very quick, crazy, here's something that you probably, anyone listening didn't think of. We work with an office in Texas. At this particular office, I'm not going to say the name, but they serve alcohol to their patients in consults because it's Texas.
No,
it's literally a little
no rules in Texas.
Literally a little beer fridge. Not kidding. Anyway, maybe that helps them. I don't know. So I'm talking to. It was actually the patient's. It was actually this gentleman's daughter who we had just moved laterals using ortho, ready to get 2 implants in. Guy is telling me he makes $500,000 a year, travels the world, very, very, very well off. Like, oh, sure. To your point, 5-10 minutes ago, could have just handed me the check for whatever it was, $9,000, whatever. We just could have done it, but said, hey, you got financing, right? I do. Let's look. Let's see what I can get. Well, the first one I applied to immediately denied him. Immediately. I said, okay, that's funny. That's interesting. I'm thinking in my head, maybe he's overextended. Maybe he's just lying to me. Maybe, okay. Go to the next one. Max amount approved. Go to the next one. Max amount approved. Forgot which one we landed on. Chooses it. Picks it up. Everything signed, sealed, delivered. Everything's great. But I got this thought in my head. I'm curious. That first one denied. Why? So I started asking him some questions. I'm like, hey, just morbid curiosity. Have you ever worked with this company before? Have you ever worked with this bank before? Here's the bank. Have you? No, I don't think so. I'm like, are you sure?
The one that denied him?
Yeah, the one that denied him. I'm sorry. Like, are you sure? Because this seems very odd. And he goes, oh, wait a minute. When I was young and dumb, I got a boat, and this bank was the holder of the note, and I defaulted on it. Doesn't matter that he makes $500,000 a year and can...
It's blacklisted.
That company doesn't want to work with him again.
Right.
If I had stopped at 1, he would have just paid cash. However, in this scenario, right, this isn't life or death for this particular person, but that's like a unique situation you don't even necessarily think of. If you, it's possible, right, that one of the companies you use, you apply, they get denied, and then maybe it's just that one. I've also been on the opposite side of that. I apply them to 7, 8 different companies. They all say no except for one. And that's the one that they go with. It works both ways, right?
Yeah, right. Your history with a bank follows you probably forever.
Yeah.
Right? And we've all defaulted on boats before.
Oh, countless times.
Countless boat defaults. Okay, so I want to play a little game with you without thinking. I want you to just quickly, don't go into detail. We'll get into detail on all of them. I want to see how your brain's working.
Okay.
I'm going to ask you the 3 biggest no-nos in financing that someone can do in a dental office. Don't go into detail. We'll go into detail after.
Okay.
But the 3 biggest no-nos in dental financing, what are they?
Don't talk about it if you have a consult room, do it in the consult room. Don't talk about financing in the waiting room.
The waiting room.
Don't talk about financing at the front desk in earshot of everyone.
Yeah.
Don't do that. I would say another huge one is don't just hand someone a brochure. Do it for them. Yeah. You've got to do it for them.
Or with them.
Or with
certain
them,
financing companies, certain places you have to assist.
Assist,
right?
that's correct.
Yeah. But don't send them home, is what you're saying.
Don't send them
Here's
home.
a brochure.
Don't send them away.
Call
Here's a
us when you're
brochure. Yeah, let me know when you got it, right? Let me know when you're all set. And I would say just not having enough or only having one, I think, is just a huge no-no.
Yeah, big one.
Not being able to offer, oh, well, this one didn't work.
Yeah.
Whoops, sorry.
Oh, that's crazy. Those are 3 awesome ones, actually. But I have one too that I think is is really, really strong.
Yeah.
And it's something that people almost never talk about. So loan stacking.
Ooh.
Let's talk about loan stacking for
Yeah.
a second. So for those of you who don't know, loan stacking is this practice. Essentially what we're doing is fooling the banks, right? So we talked about a financial profile. We all have a financial profile. It's both good and bad, right? You go into a dental office, they try to get you approved, and let's say this bank says this person can be approved. We back the idea of this person being approved for $5,000, but the treatment is $15,000. So we have some dental offices, and I have worked with some major KOLs who actually teach this.
Key opinion leader.
Yeah, yes. They teach it, right, to loan stack. And not only is it not legal, it's an awful thing to do to another human being. And so what happens is this bank has said, okay, $5,000. This is what this person can afford. Another bank says $5,000. This is what this person can afford. And then another one says $5,000. Right? So we've done all of our due diligence, just like you've said, checking every single bank. We've determined basically your profile yields a $5,000 lending power, borrowing power, right? Well, in some shady ways, some offices will activate 3 loans to get the 15.
Yeah.
And so now 3 different financial institutes have told you this person should not, they'll be stretched after 5. And we put them into 15.
Yeah.
Right? And we did it by tricking the banks.
Right.
That's wrong. I don't think we should do that. I mean, from a legal standpoint, it's banks, so like, whatever, guys.
Yeah.
But still, not cool.
Right.
But with our patients,
Yeah, it's an ethical thing. It's a moral thing.
Morally, yeah, I hate it. And so loan stacking, not allowed in our dental offices.
Yeah, we don't like that.
Yeah, yeah. So let's talk about the waiting room for a second.
Love it.
I think people do it less. And again, I like to say that you and I have something to do with it, but
Yeah.
3 years ago, the number of people we would go into a dental office and my brain would melt as I watched them talk about $25,000 in funding, right? Well, we do financing. Yeah, where do you do it? In the waiting room.
Yeah.
Patients standing, literally, not figuratively, literally halfway out the door. They're halfway out the door.
Yeah.
They're on their way out. And we stop them in front of staff and in front of other patients to say, do you want to do financing?
Yeah,
What's your social security number?
Yeah.
Let's fill this out.
How much money do you make a year?
How much money do you make? How much money?
Do you own a home?
I'm
Do you
sorry,
rent?
you've been rejected. You want to do another one?
Right.
I mean, I can't imagine why anyone would do that and not realize it's a bad idea.
Yeah. A lot of car analogies here. When you go to test drive a car, do you talk about money on the test drive? Do you talk about money in the middle of the showroom floor so everyone in the dealership can hear what the heck you're talking about? No. You talk about it privately in an area where no one else can hear what the heck you're talking about.
Do you talk about their treatment at the waiting room?
Yeah. Oh, that's another.
You
fun
know,
one. Yeah.
like
silly.
It's really silly. And we went through the brochures and the different types of banks and waterfalling. So there are a few companies just kind of reach out to us about these companies. And the reason why I don't want to just say who they are is something that happens a lot. It's funny. I just got a call from a doctor and he's well connected across the country. He said, Ryan, what's going on? I said, what do you mean? He's like, a such and such financing company, they're no longer, they just don't approve like they used to. And I said, yeah, doc, this is normal, right? We have a finger on the pulse of financing, and the ebbs and flows. And God knows what and why that happens, right? There's acquisitions and mergers and different things that happen. You know, there was a couple years ago, there was a really hot financing company that came from home improvements. And I remember talking to
home improvement. Yeah.
Russian guy. He was a VP there. And I said, he was telling me what they do. Oh, we do kitchen remodels and attic remodels, and we want to get into dentistry. And I remember looking at him like, you're insane,
Yeah.
right? Like the person who's getting a $45,000 kitchen remodel, That's not the same person who's getting $45,000 in new teeth typically. And he said, "Oh yeah, we know that." I'm like, I don't
know if you do.
I don't know if you do. Fast forward a year and a half later, they're gone. But they were super hot for a while,
Yeah,
right?
they were aggressive.
So there's this massive ebb and flow with different financing companies, and we constantly keep our finger on it. So to say, this is who's hot right now, it's just waste, because if you're listening to this a year later, whoever's hot today is not going to be hot tomorrow.
Flat out might not exist anymore.
Yeah, it happens all the time. Yeah, and you also need to be careful with the fly-by-night companies. So
Absolutely.
okay, cool. So how often should someone utilize financing? So as someone has 100 patients come through their dental office, how often should they run financing for patients?
I mean, if it's my office, I would want an attempt on all 100.
All 100. Yeah.
Our highest performing coordinators, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, I know Maxilla tracks this, but our highest performing coordinators are between 50 and 60% of the patients that move forward are using some form of financing.
Yeah, I think that's an important KPI or key performance indicator that Maxilla tracks for us in our offices, the ones that we own, and then also for our clients, but also for you.
Yeah.
Right. It's a number you love to see.
Yeah.
So when you're hiring in I guess monitoring, right, an implant coordinator, I can tell you, to the second decimal, what percentage of patients they utilized financing for. And I love this one. You'll go in and you'll say, hey, you're only doing 5%. Fine. 5% of the people who move forward. You've got 60% of people who come through here are moving forward, but only 5% are using financing. There's a lot of reasons why that's not a good idea. By using financing, we can improve many things, including dollar per treatment. But my favorite response to that is, "Oh, right, you don't understand. Everyone in my office uses cash."
Yes.
Have you heard this before?
Oh, yes. Just a few times.
Yeah. What is up with that?
Everyone who comes in, our patients, they pay cash for it. I've actually flat out had doctors, clients, when I'm starting to work with them, flat out tell me, so listen, I really want to make sure that we get a lot of the patients who move forward, that they can just afford it on their own and they don't need financing.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
I literally ask out loud, what does that mean? I don't understand. What is your aversion to that? Why do you feel this way?
You should sell something else.
Right.
Like, you should sell $1 million condos.
Right. Fascinating thought process. I only want cash paying patients.
Yeah, right.
Why? I don't understand
why.
This.
Yeah. And then to go back to the ITCs that tell us, or it's usually not an ITC, it's someone who's filling that role. People in our office use cash. It's then you go and you say, well, how many times have you run financing in the last 6 months? And you run into what you just were talking about earlier, which is when I even ask you to log in, you don't even know how to log in. So you're not trying. And so it's silly to me if I have a burger place that also sells fries and I don't have fries on the menu. I don't ask anyone if they ever want fries. And then when a consultant comes in, I tell them, well, we just don't sell fries here. There's people who just don't want it. And it's like, but you don't have it on your menu. You don't talk about it. You have it in the back.
Yeah.
Right? You have a brochure about fries. That's why you only sell burgers here. Right? And it's the exact same thing. And never, ever have we been told that, people just use cash here and we can get our hands on it. And then it maintains that people use cash inevitably. It just is a silly idea.
Right. We're not advocating talk them out of using cash. It's just you're missing a whole subset of people that don't have cash. You're just remembering the ones that do have cash to pay for things. Yeah. So a whole long list of people that if you just helped them be able to afford it, they would have moved forward too. Yeah. Your cash patients are your gravy, your low-hanging fruit, wow, this is great. Yeah. Okay, well, talk about this person who really wants this treatment but doesn't have the buckets of cash. Anyway, I'm getting into the weeds again.
I love that one.
I stole that from you.
Yeah. Okay, so we are running out of time here. I want to, in our last episode, we did an AJ's Adventures, and I want to do that. But before I do that, I showed the podcast to my 9-year-old daughter, Lily.
Oh, Lord.
And she said, Dad, you should have Lily's dad jokes on the episode.
Oh.
And she gave me one.
Okay.
And I'm going to give it to you now.
Okay.
So before we go to that, I want to do that.
Let's do it.
All right. So she says, what do you call a fish with no eyes?
An amoeba.
A fish.
What?
Get it? No
Yes.
eyes.
Oh,
So,
boy.
So she's not going to like that bombed so bad. Okay, AJ's Adventures. Let's hear your story.
The audience will let us know if it
I think the audience will get it. I don't think you got it. Guys, did we get it? Everyone else got it. Okay.
See a lot of nodding, smiling. A nice adventure. I've got a fun one that relates to today. Da-da-da-da-da-da. They won't always relate to what we're talking about.
Oh, yes.
This one fits pretty well. So I visited an office a few years back. I was doing my assessment visit, which is just the first time I visit an office. I need to see what the heck is going on. I need to meet the people involved. I need to just be a fly on the wall and see what's going on so that I know how to help it, right? So I'm doing my assessment visit, and when I arrived, I was told, what each person's function was in the office, dental assistant, hygienist, front desk, financing coordinator. So I, of course, zeroed in a lot of my attention during this assessment visit on the finance coordinator, because in my brain, that means that this person talks to patients about money, right? Watched for 2 days, and after the second day, what I noticed a lot of, because it did come up, when someone needed to talk about money or treatment or financing, it was, okay, yeah, so here's a brochure, I go home, think about it, here's your treatment, here's a treatment plan, consider all your options, make sure this is something you want to do, and then it just kind of brooms them out the door. So that night, I'm sitting with the doctor at a dinner, just sort of recapping some things that I had seen, and I said, hey, I've got to ask you, I've been here 2 days, and I didn't see your finance coordinator. Not only did they not process one financing application, they actually actively talked people out of looking into financing.
Like told people not to do it.
Basically, yeah, like, oh, I don't know if this is something you want to do. Just here's your treatment. Let us know. I asked her, I said, hey, why don't your role as finance coordinator? I asked her before I left, and this is before the dinner with the doctor. I asked her flat out, like, why do you not offer this? That's kind of your role here. Is there something wrong? Do you not know how to use them? And she said, AJ, I just think that if you can't pay for something in cash, you just shouldn't have it. That's what I believe.
Does she know this is America?
Well, I just took that information and said, okay, and I was typing notes in my laptop there. Fast forward to that evening with the doctor, and I tell him what I had just told you, which is your finance coordinator basically just told me I don't believe in financing. And it's because my belief is you shouldn't pay for something that you shouldn't have anything that you can't just hand someone cash for.
And this has been his financing coordinator
for years.
Years.
Yeah. And the doctor thinks about it, and he's really funny. I still chat with him to this day. Says, well, that does make sense. She did marry like a local millionaire, and she doesn't really need financing for anything. If she wants something, she just buys it.
There it is. There it is.
Do you think this is the best person to try to get people to finance things?
Did you ask her if she believes in financing?
Yeah. So that's AJ's fun. I don't know if we're gonna have music.
Oh
to
yeah,
that.
let's do music, Jason. We want music for AJ's Adventures.
Yeah, I want it to be the theme song for Bulk and Skull on the Power Rangers. Does anyone know what that? Wow. Yeah. That show's defunct, right? We can totally use that sound.
I think so.
It's public domain now.
Yeah. Oh, it's been around that long.
I didn't think of it that way. All right, I'll shut up.
Yeah, you should. Okay, we have got to close it up here. AJ, this has been an awesome conversation.
Yeah.
I'm so glad it's our second episode ever. And I think financing really should have been the topic that we talked about. It is so wildly important to different success stories in so many offices, and it will change the game.
Yeah.
So for those of you who are listening, just if you follow, like, subscribe, and all the other podcasty things, we would very much appreciate it. Thank you for attending our podcast, and we'll see you next time.
That's another.
Oh, shit.
That's another
case closed.
Tink and
We'll get it right.
one of these days.
One of these days.
Closed.
Done. Thanks for tuning in to Case Closed, from consult to crown. New episodes drop every other week. If you're watching on YouTube, give us a like, leave a comment, and consider subscribing to catch all of our upcoming content. Click the notification bell and feel free to leave a review or share the show with a friend. We greatly appreciate your feedback. And if you'd like to reach out to AJ or myself directly, leave us a message at anothercaseclosed.com. Thanks for being here, and we'll see you in the next episode.